Marjorie Taylor Greene files articles of impeachment for Merrick Garland, and there are those who warn that if Trump is indicted, there could be a second civil war in this country. Welcome to Hide and Seek Media. Hello, all you beautiful and amazing people. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to the show. If you're new to the channel, I'm your host, Hyde, and this is Hide and Seek Media, where we talk about news, sports, politics, and so much more. So the Washington Post reported that the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago was in search of documents related to nuclear weapons that Trump had taken when he left office. After a lot of speculation in the media over whether Trump actually did this and what he could actually be charged with if he did in fact take documents that were related to nuclear codes or, nuclear weapons of some sort.
Sources tell CBS News the FBI executed a search warrant at former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate on Monday as part of an investigation into his handling of White House documents. In February, the National Archives asked the Department of Justice to investigate his handling of White House records. It came after officials retrieved 15 boxes of records from Mar-a-Lago that were meant for preservation under federal law. The papers include some classified material brought to the residence after the Trump administration departed the White House.
It turned out there was no mention of nuclear weapons or documents related to nuclear weapons in the search warrant. The search warrant was so broad that it didn't really mention anything specific. They released the search warrant so that the public could see it. But what they didn't release was the affidavit that was sent to the court to get the search warrant. That's what's missing. That's the missing piece, because that's the piece that Attorney General Garland sent in. We got the piece from the judge and the court, right? The actual search warrant and the broad scope of it. We didn't get the affidavit that the Department of Justice sent to that court to get the search warrant. So Marjorie Taylor Greene says, let's impeach Attorney General Garland over this because he overstepped his bounds. There was no precedent for this. There was no reason for this because the Trump administration or, Trump and his attorneys and whoever were cooperating with the National Archives and had already turned over 15 boxes of documents, implemented new safety features at Mar-a-Lago to protect the documents he did have, and was continuously in negotiations about sending more documents to the National Archives. So it's not like he wasn't cooperating with the agency that was responsible for this to begin with. So we're going to get into a couple of stories about all of this, and we're going to talk about how dangerous this really is going forward. But before we get into all that, if you like the work I'm doing here and you want to help support the channel, there's a bunch of ways you can do it. I have my own merch link that you can go pick you out funny political t-shirts and hoodies. And if you use code 1776, I'll give you 20% off your entire order. I also have my own locals community that you can go join. Now that's free, but to get access to all the content I put up on locals, you have to become a premium member. That membership is just $2.99 a month. So head on over there and become a member. But really the best way you can help support my channel and support this work is by smashing that like button and sharing this video. Those two interactions alone will show YouTube's algorithm that this video needs more impressions. The more impressions I get, the more views I get, the more views, the more subscribers. You guys know how this works. So smash that like button and share this video on all social media platforms. But let's get to this first story about Trump's raid on Mar-a-Lago and what the FBI actually found and what the warrant scope really was. So you have this story here from the Daily Wire. Trump raid warrant receipts make no mention of nuclear weapons. New documents related to the FBI's raid of former President Donald Trump's Florida home do not explicitly mention nuclear weapons secrets, which the Washington Post reported agents were seeking in the Monday search. The U.S. Court, the U.S. District Court of Southern District of Florida on Friday unsealed unredacted copies of the FBI search warrant and receipts of items taken from Mar-a-Lago Monday during an FBI raid on former President Donald Trump's residence. Now, I'm going to stop right there because this has never been done in the history of this country. Okay? Executive privilege usually extends well beyond the term the president serves, and they are given the respect that any former president deserves in regards to his presidency and the documents that are within that. Now, I am 100% down for the National Archives having the documents that they need and are required to keep. All for it. We need to have that history and access to that history. I'm all for that. But President Trump was cooperating with the National Archives, and this raid was all just politically motivated. The Daily Wire goes on to say, nowhere on the warrant or on the receipts of items taken are nuclear weapons explicitly mentioned. The documents, which are relatively undescriptive and mostly avoid specifics, do refer to top secret information and say Trump is being investigated in part for potential violations of 18 USC section 793. This section of the U.S. Code deals with obtaining information respecting the national defense with intent or reason to believe that the information is being used to the injury of the United States or to the advantage of any foreign nation. So they're saying that Trump had top secret information that he was selling to foreign countries or was giving away to foreign countries or whatever, right? That's what they're saying. Trump is a spy.
What do you think of this?
Notably, one of the documents, Attachment B, refers to information including communications in any form regarding the retrieval, storage, or transmission of national defense information or classified material. The Washington Post reported Thursday that the unprecedented FBI raid on Trump's residence was undertaken in part to recover classified documents relating to nuclear weapons. Washington Post sources, which the outlet referred to as people familiar with the investigation, did not elaborate on the claim, nor did they say whether the FBI recovered such documents. Now, I'm going to stop right there again because people familiar with the investigation. Well, guess what, Washington Post? I'm familiar with the investigation. Does that mean that I can, whatever I say in this video, somebody can go ahead and write a whole article about it and speculate as far as they want to speculate because I'm familiar with the investigation and I have a theory? Are you freaking kidding me? Now, I'm not saying that I'm a journalist. At this point, I'm reading the news to you guys so that we can talk it out and go through it together and expose the lies and try to find the truth of what's going on and what's happening in this country, right? That's what I'm doing here. That's what people like the Daily Wire are doing. And that's why I use them as a source in my videos. They go on to say, the bombshell report sparked controversy online as to why the FBI waited roughly 18 months to recover such documents. Speculation also questioned why, if the nature of the documents was so sensitive, the White House did not know about the raid. Just to get this straight, we're supposed to believe that the material Trump had stored in his house was nuclear content so sensitive that the FBI waited a year and a half to go get it and used the National Archives as a prop to do so. Daily Wire editor emeritus Ben Shapiro tweeted. And he's right. He's right. Ben is 100% right there. if the documents they were after were so sensitive and it was about nuclear secrets and all of that, why did we wait so long? Right? Why are we even going through these January 6th committee hearings if you had evidence that Donald Trump was storing nuclear secrets, top secret nuclear codes and nuclear secrets of this country in Mar-a-Lago? Why did you wait 18 months? Now, it could be new information that the FBI had just gotten, and that's why they went forward with and that's how they got the warrant. But let's see the affidavit then. Where did you get that information from? Now, I have a theory on why this all went down. And it's a little out there, a little out there in left field, but hear me out. This is plausible. Now, before I get into it, I'm going to tell you that this gives Trump a lot more credit than people would give him. But hear me out. What if the insider that tipped off the FBI that these documents were in Mar-a-Lago was Trump's insider? What if Trump set all of this up so that he could go after the Biden Department of Justice, so that he could show how politically motivated all of the DOJ's movements are, so that he could expose the corruption in the FBI and in the Department of Justice? So he has somebody give this false information. The FBI then uses that information to go get a warrant, and then they raid Mar-a-Lago. Then he gets this big firestorm, right before he announces he's going to run in 2024, right? So he gets this big firestorm. This then boasts all of these Republicans to get up and fired up and be like, hey, do you see what's going on here? How dare this administration do that? We gotta vote in November to make sure we take control of the House and Senate, so we stop this administration dead in their tracks and start investigations into why these things are happening, right? So Trump sets all of this in motion to expose the corruption, the hypocrisy, and the authoritarianism of this regime that has taken over our country. I'm just saying, like I said, it gives Trump a lot of credit. And I don't necessarily know that that was the case. But my biggest issue with the whole warrant, right, was that we didn't get the affidavit. That's what I wanted most. Was I wanted to see what Merrick Garland put down on that affidavit that, so that he could get this warrant. That needs to be released. And I don't think it will be, because it was falsified information, or it was a blatant lie. But he could have, and it could have been that, like I said, Trump sent out a double agent, somebody who was a spy in his camp, and say, okay, I want you to give out this information to the DOJ. Tell them, this, that, whatever. And then we get the raid and all of that. But until we see the affidavit, we're really not going to know. So I'm all down for what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing. We have this story right here from timcast.com. Marjorie Taylor Greene files articles of impeachment against Attorney General Merrick Garland. Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene has announced that she has introduced articles of impeachment against Attorney General Merrick Garland. The Congresswoman referred to Garland's authorization of the raid at former President Donald Trump's residence as a form of political persecution. Quote, What they've been doing to President Trump is political persecution, Greene said while speaking to reporters before going inside to file the articles of impeachment. Merrick Garland has abused his position of power as Attorney General to politically persecute Joe Biden's enemies. And the whole purpose of this is to prevent President Trump from ever being able to hold office. Rep. Greene tweeted a copy of the resolution on August 12th. And, you can go through and they show all the tweets and everything. The resolution reads, impeaching Merrick Brian Garland, Attorney General of the United States, for endangering, compromising, and undermining the justice system of the United States by facilitating the persecution of President Joseph R. Biden Jr.'s political rival, Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States. The resolution adds that the House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeachment, and that the Attorney General, as a civil officer of the United States, shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Article 1 states that AG Garland has taken measures to silence the voice of millions of citizens of the United States by persecuting the former duly elected and lawful President of the United States and potential presidential candidate Donald J. Trump. In Article 2, Greene's resolution states that the Supreme Court in the Department of Navy versus Egan, that the president has the power to control the classification and declassification of documents pertaining to national security. The executive vesting clause of the Constitution, according to Greene, grants the president the authority to declassify documents in the public interest that originated in any department or agency of the executive branch pursuant to Executive Order 13526. Therefore, the documents in question, she argues, were legally declassified and therefore no crime was committed by the former president. Greene additionally alleged that in the document that Garland's efforts to unseal the search warrant for Trump's residence constitutes an attempt to intimidate, harass, and potentially disqualify a political challenger to the president, Joseph R. Biden Jr. The lawmaker added that Garland's actions run counter to the steps that employees of the executive branch must take to avoid the appearance of loss of impartiality. The FBI, with Garland's approval, conducted a search of Trump's residence at Mar-a-Lago Resort in Palm Beach, Florida on Monday. On Thursday, Garland held a press conference to announce that due to substantial public interest in the matter, he wanted the search warrant and record of seized property to be unsealed by the court. Well, we want the affidavit. I want to see what you sent the court. Release that, because what this is going to do, if you decide you want to try to indict Donald Trump, is spark a civil war. And there are many people outside of me who agree with that. Even Newsweek is pushing articles that say that. Donald Trump being indicted could cause fire to burn, professor says. A professor who researches U.S. militia groups has warned that any indictment against former President Donald Trump arising from a search of Florida home would cause fire to burn. Criminologist Brian Levin told CNN's Kim Brunhuber on Friday that people could act based on the rhetoric surrounding the raid at Mar-a-Lago and appeared to criticize some of the former president's allies in their recent comments. Trump has denied any wrongdoing and has argued that the search of his Palm Beach home was politically motivated. He has also suggested that the FBI agents involved in the search could have been planting evidence. Nobody has been charged with any crime arising from the investigation into the handling of the White House documents, but the warrant authorizing the search, unsealed on Friday, cited possible violations of 3 federal statutes that all carry potential prison sentences, including the Espionage Act. But as we just read in the Timcast article, Marjorie Taylor Greene laid it out pretty damn well. The president has the power to classify and declassify any documents originating from the executive branch. So, If he declassified them and they were in his home, it doesn't matter. This particular instance feels to me like a muster call, Levin said. And then, as this heats up, where there's a certain event, an indictment, we're not saying it's happening, but if it does, that will cause this fire to burn more. He added, the kindling is already out there, and we are quite concerned because this kind of stuff heats up and gets more directed as we go down that trail as to what's going to happen with respect to possible criminal prosecution of the former president. So that's the whole thing, right? Like, the reason why the firework will continue to burn if some kind of indictment comes down on President Trump is because we haven't seen any indictment of Hunter Biden. We haven't seen any indictment of Joe Biden. We haven't seen any indictment of Hillary Clinton. We haven't seen any indictment of Barack Obama. All of those people have committed crimes, and we have evidence of such, and no indictments have come across any of them. But Donald Trump takes some declassified papers home and you want to lock him up, throw him in jail under the Espionage Act. Now, there is something that I did hear, and I don't have any record of it. I heard it on a podcast, and I don't remember which one it was. I was scrolling through a bunch of them one day, and this guy was saying that there are obviously, if Trump has, the type of security he does, there's cameras all over the Mar-a-Lago mansion and specifically the 45 office at the Mar-a-Lago resort and mansion. So Trump coming out and saying that FBI agents may have been planting evidence, to me sounds like we got them on videotape doing shit they weren't supposed to, and that's why this isn't going to go anywhere. Now, like I said, I'm just speculating that part, right? Because I did hear that there were cameras all around Mar-a-Lago, and they have all of this footage of these FBI agents and what they were doing at the residence, like going through Melania's dresser, going through all her clothes and stuff. Like, really? What purpose does that serve? What purpose does that serve, going through the former first lady's dresser and going through her clothes? I mean, and her closet. That doesn't, to me, it doesn't serve any purpose. I know you're searching the house and you're supposed to search everywhere, but that's a little ridiculous to me. And it's definitely a lot disrespectful to a former president and former first lady. Beyond anything else, the level of disrespect that was shown to this president was beyond any level of disrespect that this country has shown any other president. And it's appalling to me that there are people out there that applauded this, that wanted more of this. But those people need to be careful. The saying, what is that saying? Be careful what you wish for, because it may be great right now. But what happens when you don't have the House of Representatives and you don't have the Senate on your side and you don't have the presidency on your side and in your realm, right, in your bubble? What if all of those people in power don't believe what you believe anymore? Do you still want them to have that kind of power? That's the whole reason why we don't allow these kinds of things to happen. That's why when these things happen, we have to nip them in the bud immediately. Merrick Garland should be, at the very least, investigated, and an impeachment process will do that. And so in November, when you get out there and vote, make sure you get out there and vote for an America First Republican, somebody that Trump is backing, and let's take back the House and Senate so we can get control of this country. And we can take it back. without having to use force. That should be a very last resort. And your vote is a lot stronger than any gun you own. Don't let 2020 discourage you from getting out there and voting and being heard. And I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent. I don't care. Look deep down in your soul and ask yourself, what's best for my kids? What's best for my grandkids? What's going to be best for their kids? Stop being selfish. Stop looking at everything in your little bubble and start thinking about the future of this country, because it is going down the toilet very, very quickly. And if we don't grab a plunger and start fricking sucking the shit out of this, we are going to go down with it. So make sure November you get out and vote, because it does mean something. It means more than body armor and bullets. Get out and vote America first. Made it all the way to the end of the video. I appreciate you guys watching. It really does mean a lot to me that you've made it this far. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, so you get notified anytime I drop a new video. Smash that like button. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this video and the topic. I love to engage with my viewers, so feel free to fire away. Mainly, what I need you guys to do is share this video. If nothing else, you hit that share button. Share this video on all social media platforms. That's really going to help YouTube's algorithm give my video more impressions and help me grow this channel. I appreciate everything you guys are doing, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.